Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something pretty wild. We're going to decode the raw, intense energy of a viral motivational speech, and we're turning it into a structured, four-pillar philosophy of absolute resilience. We are literally mapping out exactly how an unstoppable mindset is built from the ground up. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or just totally burned out from hitting a wall over and over, this breakdown is going to completely shift your perspective. Let's just jump right in. Okay. We're starting this off by hitting you with the exact same aggressive question the source material opens with. Do you actually want to do this or not? Listen, this isn't a gentle warm-up. This is an immediate, direct challenge to your true level of desire. I want you to think about that massive goal you have right now. You know, the promotion, the fitness milestone, that huge personal project. We aren't talking about vague vision boards here. This is forcing you to confront whether your ambition is just a comfortable passing thought or if it's a genuine, burning necessity. It's a totally binary question. There is no kind of, and there definitely isn't a maybe. You either want it or you don't. Which brings us to section 1, the ultimate question, and facing your true desire. Now, if your answer to that very first question is a genuine, resounding yes, the source material points out a powerful, unavoidable, logical conclusion. If you truly want it, what's going to stop you? Absolutely nothing. True desire completely neutralizes external obstacles. Think about all those times you've let a bad day, a totally random critical comment, or a lack of resources halt your progress. The stark reality presented here is that if you're finding excuses, well, it simply means you haven't fully committed to that core yes. When the desire is absolute, the obstacles become totally irrelevant. They literally transform into puzzles you just have to solve, rather than brick walls that stop you in your tracks. All right, moving into section 2, pushing through the exhaustion and the stark reality of the grind. What's genuinely fascinating here is how this speaker specifically targets exhaustion. We aren't talking about what you do when you're feeling fresh, fully rested, completely caffeinated, and super motivated. No, exhaustion is the ultimate testing ground. Because think about it. It is incredibly easy to work hard on day 1 of a new business venture. Your motivation is through the roof. But what happens on day 60? You're drained, the results just aren't showing up yet, and honestly, you just want to sleep. It's in that state of utter depletion that your true character is actually revealed. That is exactly when the initial yes you gave earlier gets shoved right into the fire. And to survive that intense testing ground of exhaustion, there is a very specific, almost brutal mechanism. It's essentially an endless staircase of endurance. Get up tomorrow, get up again tomorrow. The next day, get up, keep going. We all absolutely love the idea of a massive, glamorous breakthrough, but success? It isn't about one giant leap. It requires relentless, daily, almost mind-numbing repetition. You're tired? Get up. You failed yesterday? Get up. You just keep stepping up. It's the incredibly unglamorous reality of putting one foot in front of the other, day in and day out, no matter how much fatigue is pulling at your ankles. But here's the catch. Just physically getting up isn't enough. You have to cultivate an absolute armor of positivity. You have to be able to look in the mirror and genuinely believe I'm unbeatable. You're never, ever going to beat me. And to be clear, this isn't some toxic positivity where you just ignore reality. You are going to take heavy hits. You're going to face crushing rejections, and you might even be damaged by the process. But your internal narrative has to remain completely unbroken. When the entire world is telling you to quit, your internal voice has to be louder, insisting that you simply cannot be beaten. It's a psychological fortress that keeps you moving when your physical body is begging you to stop. That brings us to section 3, the you against you reality, where we're dispelling some major myths. Let me ask you, how many shortcuts do you think are actually available on this journey? 0. That's right, 0. In a modern world that is completely obsessed with quick fixes, 30-day life hacks, and the easiest possible routes to the top, this mindset completely rejects the entire premise. There's no hacks, bro. 0 outside help. 0 secret tricks. We spend way too much time hunting for the perfect morning routine or some hidden software that's going to automate our success. But true resilience, it strips all of that away. You're left with the undeniable fact that the path is just hard, and there is absolutely no cheat code to bypass the required effort. And since there are no hacks and no shortcuts, who are you actually fighting? The battle is entirely you against you. It is a constant, raging internal war. It's the you holding the deep ambition, the one who answered yes a few minutes ago, fighting every single day against the you who feels the doubt, the fear, and that crushing exhaustion we talked about. If you mistakenly think your enemy is your difficult boss, the tough economy, or just plain old bad luck, you've already lost the game. The battle is 100% internal. The only person who can actually stop you from taking that next step on the staircase is the voice inside your own head. Because there are zero hacks and the battle is entirely internal, hard work isn't just a suggestion, it is strictly mandatory. It's a very clear transactional reality. If you want a genuinely good outcome, you have to work fiercely for it. But honestly, it goes so much deeper than just getting the result. Without the grind, any outcome you do manage to stumble into won't actually hold any real value to you anyway. Think about something you were just handed versus something you literally bled for. The pride, the character development, and the true lasting value of the victory are directly tied to the severity of the grind it took to get there. The struggle is literally what gives the prize its worth. Finally, we reach section 4, redefining failure to win. This is the massive paradigm shift. This introduces a deeply profound realization from the text. The only place to go from failure is to win. We spend our entire lives terrified of hitting rock bottom, right? We avoid it, we build safety nets against it, we fear it. But when you hit the absolute bottom, when you have exhausted absolutely everything, tried your hardest, and truly failed, your trajectory fundamentally changes. You literally cannot fall any further. The absolute bottom of failure isn't a grave. It becomes your launch pad. It strips away your ego, it burns off your fear, and it leaves you with only one possible direction left to travel. And that direction is upward. And that leads to what is probably the most radical concept of all. Failure is no longer this scary endpoint that you have to avoid at all costs. Instead, it gets reframed as a mandatory milestone that you must actively achieve. You literally have to take it head on. Most people play it safe their entire lives so they never fail, but by doing that, they never truly win either. If you haven't failed, it simply means you haven't pushed yourself to your absolute limits, which means you haven't unlocked your true capacity. You have to seek out challenges so monumental that failure is a very real possibility, because achieving that failure is the only way to find out exactly what you are actually capable of. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. We've decoded the entire anatomy of this unbeatable mindset. You now know that it requires ruthless self-honesty, enduring daily exhaustion, and fighting a totally internal battle with absolutely zero hacks. So, the ultimate question is this. Are you willing to actively chase and achieve failure, knowing it is the only guaranteed stepping stone to your ultimate victory? Take a minute to really process that, and try applying this exact perspective to whatever challenge you're staring down today.